where you live, just for the record. Go ahead, ma'am.
My name is Genevieve Miller. I live at 137, 139 Locust Street. I am the property directly behind the post office. We have met before at a meeting.
Yes.
We were promised another meeting we did not get. The only next contact I got was the letter from the attorney telling me that they were taking my land. My thing is, as far as you're coming, what are you doing for my safety? You're bringing the traffic 6 feet from my front door and my side door and my basement window. My fence has been hit 3 times. My house has been hit once. What are you doing for me?
Well, the construction that we're proposing, again, I mentioned that the asphalt will go to the edge of the right-of-way, which is about a little bit beyond your fence right now. Your fence is a little bit out into the right-of-way right now. At that point, there would be a raised curb and a sidewalk. And then we would reestablish your fence line behind the sidewalk. From there to your house, according to the survey, is about 19 feet to your home from that point, from the back of the sidewalk.
No.
So there is a buffer there, plus the raised curb to help deter anyone from driving right into your home.
The raised buffer or sidewalk or whatever didn't deter the last person from getting my house.
I don't know if that was because of narrow street,
No,
weather conditions.
no, that was, that happens.
Yeah.
It happened, and it actually, with such speed, he hit my fence line. My fence actually put him through. The fence and the tree sort of like bent. He was going at such a great speed and hit my house.
Maybe we could look at putting in some bollards then.
What are those?
We like to reinforce pipe columns. We make them decorative. That would deter. You see them sometimes in front of some of the big box stores for security reasons. So when someone doesn't drive through the doors,
I understand.
we can put something that would be aesthetically pleasing to you along there to address that safety issue.
Have you addressed the a speed limit sign, flashing lights yet?
That would be up to the township to do that.
Okay. Also, if you're using that property for construction vehicles, what's wrong with using it as the road in and having School Street road out? The
Traffic study and the meetings that we had with the fire department, as you recall, there was a concern about the sight distance on Goose Bishop with the left turn lanes onto Oak, not having sufficient sight distance there. So everyone had kind of moved away from that because of safety reasons.
Why couldn't that be a school zone? Flashing lights, slow everybody down to 15.
On the,
excuse me, I can't hear.
From Oak Street. You say that right upside of Oak Street is the hill that you guys can't see. Why can't that be flashing yellow lights?
I'm not sure I'm not the traffic engineer, but I'm not sure the PennDOT would permit a
Traffic calming devices typically aren't allowed in that situation.
We don't have frontage on these bridges.
You can't put a school zone right there like it's down on First Street School?
We don't own frontage on East Bishop, so PennDOT wouldn't entertain
First
that.
Street, there's frontage on the main road, so they're allowed to do that. I mean, there are constraints from the state that, allows us to do things and doesn't allow us to do other things.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ma'am. You want to stand up and state your name and where you live?
My name is Genevieve Miller, and I live at 206 Locust Street. The piece of property that you don't know who owns,
Yes.
at the end of Cherry Way.
Yes.
My uncle owns that. It's not Cecil Township.
Okay.
Charles Tatano, if anyone who's write it down. And secondly, when the post office goes, beg pardon?
If I get with you after the meeting to get through the name.
Sure.
Thanks.
I want to know when the post office goes, how we get our mail. Nobody seems to know, and nobody wants to tell.
I don't think we can answer that. That's a post office decision. Matt, is that correct?
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
Preliminarily, they're located, but we don't know that for sure.
Can't hear you. Can't hear.
Yeah, can he
The
get my
preliminary feedback that we've gotten from the U.S. Postal Service was that they're looking relocated in use, but we couldn't speak to that for sure. Ultimately, it's up to them.
Do you have a contact of that person?
Why
that you
aren't
would
they
speak
here?
to?
I'm not sure why they're not here. We do have a contact we're working with at the Postal Service.
Can we get that name?
I'm not sure who it is. Our solicitor's been the liaison for us.
How about renting part of the printing company? There's a little portion of the building in front that they don't use for anything, and it's as big as the post office. So somebody might want to look into that.
Well,
And that way we don't lose.
I suppose we could make the contact available to the residents and then see what their plans are. Maybe make a suggestion. I don't know if they're searching for a property right now or not.
That information that you're talking about has been forwarded to the post office.
Oh, they're already
Yeah,
aware.
they already did. Now it's going to be up to them what they want to do.
So they do have that?
Yes, I was told by the postmaster that he forwarded the information concerning that building. You're talking about the small building where
In front of the
they,
print, the big building, yeah.
but everything's going to be up to them what they want to do.
Well, I think it's a good suggestion.
You can have everybody speak one at a time, just so we're sure what we're talking about here, it's sort of bouncing back and forth. Ma'am, go ahead.
AC Rowland, 52 Sycamore Street. I'm wondering about all the dirt that you're hauling out. Where is that going and how many square, what was that, square tons that you're looking, yards have taken out? And then you're bringing in? And just some clarity on how many trucks are going to be whizzing by, how much dirt's going to be spun up? You know, how is that going to, and like her, I mean, if you're already pushing the road 19 feet to the end of her house, you're talking about semis, you're talking about dump trucks, you're talking about front loaders. That's a lot of dirt, that's a lot of dust, that's a lot of traffic. Then you add on the school, how is that going to be managed? Kids walk that path. You have people that walk through that whole area. How is that going to affect us as citizens of Muse that use these thoroughfares? And it just seems like you guys are taking it. You have no answers, and you're not giving us contacts to further get information about our post office. These things directly affect us. So just wondering, where do we as citizens get that type of information? Because it seems like there's a lot of passing the buck.
Well, can't answer the questions about the post office. Sorry about that. That's up to them. The construction I mentioned in the presentation, we have a construction manager that will control traffic at arrival and dismissal times. That's for walkers, buses, and parents. So we don't have that conflict of construction vehicles and students and staff and parents at arrival and dismissal times. After that, the contractor is going to be hauling off any material he hauls off site. If it's not wasted on site, it will be hauled off site. These contracts are competitively bid. It will be his obligation to take it off site to his place of choosing where he has a permit for it. As far as the dust and dirt, contractors will be responsible to maintain the street during the course of the construction so that they minimize any impact that you have. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say that it's going to be perfect, but they will have a responsibility which will be enforced by the construction manager to maintain erosion control, dust, dirt, mud.
Where is the construction route proposed that they haul material off-site? Where are they going with it?
I don't know. We'll know that until we have selected a contractor to do that piece of the work.
Because Oak's already been deemed unsafe by our police chief and Gateway Engineering, I believe. We can't be having construction vehicles pull out of Oak Street. That's a no-no.
No, they would be entering Oak Street. And
Well, how are they getting out? Where are they getting out?
They would exit out through School Street onto Muse Bishop. That would be their exit out of the site.
And what's the cubic yardage of earth they're going to remove from the site?
About 23,000 yards.
That's a lot of truckloads.
That was a preliminary takeoff, and my attempt will be to utilize that material on site to balance the site. It's still a fragile mechanism because there's some over excavation of some unsuitable soils that we're going to have to take care of under the building. We don't know the actual volume of that, but we're going to try and minimize any fallout. We're probably going to develop a waste area so that he can use an area to flatten out, and that way it saves money to the school, plus also gives them another platform for like a soft play area or something. along
Oak
those
Street will be bonded and all the damages to that culvert?
Yeah,
There's going to be a lot of damage done here.
yeah. Bruce has told us that Oak Street would have to be bonded as part of the project.
I don't think that road can take that pounding because there's a pipe culvert there.
That's not
Frank,
that
we'll
big.
we'll examine the road. Frank, we'll make sure we examine the road before then. I mean, we haven't even got into the details of what needs to be done underneath that road. It may need to be replaced that culvert anyway. So we'll check it out and make sure that that's all in order, and they'll have to bond the road and make sure that when they're finished, it's in as good a shape as when they left. They're going to rebuild it, as I see, at least proposed here tonight. It'll be all new when complete.
The township would issue a heavy hauling permit for that?
Well, the township will issue a grading permit. I don't know that there's any limitation right now on weight on School Street. I'm not aware of one myself.
I'm not either.
Just from what I'm hearing here tonight, there seems to be awful lot of deficiencies here in everything, in all facets of this project. And I think some people maybe need to go back to the drawing boards here. I'm not being sarcastic. Me being familiar with construction for 36 years, I hear a lot of negative stuff here about this project right now.
I have an additional question. What type of contaminants, the reason that you're having to haul this off, that it's unsuitable for the site? Is it contaminated? Is it waste frac water? What makes this unsuitable?
It's carbonation, it's expansive soils. Not everywhere, but there's some seams of carbonation soils there.
But it's not something that y'all...
It's naturally occurring in nature. Carbonaceous materials are naturally occurring.
I'm just checking, just to make
Yeah.
sure we're in the most toxic place in the whole United States. Well, we are, Cannonsburg. I'm sorry.
I just have
I mean,
one
you can
more
look it
question.
up. Cannonsburg is the most contaminated city in the entire United States of America. So it is a concern that what are you hauling off? Why is it unacceptable, and where are you putting it?
Well, primarily the haul off is because there's possibly excess materials that we don't need on the property. Not because of contaminants.
Okay. Just asking.
Sure, absolutely.
I just have one more
Good, ma'am.
question. During construction, is Cherry Way going to be accessible to us that live there?
Yes.
You know, because-
There will be there's no need for any construction.
At that
vehicles on Cherry.
intersection, there's not going to be any, like, where Cherry
And Oak-
Way runs
Cherry and
and
Oak,
school, yeah,
And
and
School
like
Street?
coming down from the school.
Only
There's not
when
gonna be
the work
any-
begins on School Street, there may be some restrictions on that when they start to do the construction on School Street, to actually do the improvements. But other than that, no.
Okay, because you know, most streets are one way, and the locust in front is one way. If we're, you know, excluded from Cherry Way, we're in trouble.
Yeah, there's no need for our construction people to be on those streets.
Thank you.
And what prevents the post office from just being moved to the right instead of just being gone? Why couldn't the building be lifted and moved over to give you your easement, to give you enough room? I mean, he parks a car, there's fields of grass and another yard right there. So it seems like if you're really only asking for 12 feet of her property and 12 or maybe at that point you're a little over 12 feet for the post office, because it looks like from your drawings you're right almost in the middle of the post office.
There's
Why
a
can't
creek
the post
runs
work?
there. They would have to fill in the creek that runs there.